Welcome to NFL Daily, where we're not getting involved in another PFF grading debate. I am Gregg Rosenthal. I am here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio. It is a full house. My favorite day, Wednesday, with Steve Wyche, Jourdan Rodrigue, and Patrick Claybon.
We're all back.
Yes.
I love it.
An even front.
I know.
4-3 front. 4-3 front.
We do.
We got a liability at nose tackle here, Steve.
We do. When they go, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Like and subscribe. Hey, if you're listening in the podcast, give us a review. Give us 5 stars. When they go to the 2-shot, if you're watching on NFL channel or YouTube, we definitely keep Steve next to me to protect me from any blindside defenders coming at me. It's just a very
I got you.
uneven distribution.
I got you.
No, it's proportion wise. We have to keep it blocked up. We get it blocked up for
35-inch arms right here, Patrick.
Allow us to be your shield.
So we divide the shows every week, if you're new on Wednesdays, to AFC and NFC home teams. This will be the final doubleheader week of the year. It's going to be the final London game of the year, so it's a little lighter on the Sunday afternoon games. It might be the final doubleheader of all time, and they got 2 of the best games of the week, but we're not starting there.
No, we're not starting there. We're starting with a great game in the AFC.
Yes.
With the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Chargers, who are favored by 1.5 points. The over-under is 48.5. Iron Eagle, J.J. Watt, Evan Washburn on the call as Greg. The Chargers got a little bit of their mojo back. Do they keep it going against one of the best teams in football right now?
That win that the Chargers had was so necessary, and yet didn't make me feel any differently or better about where they're at right now. Their center, Bradley Bozeman, is a problem. He's starting to get targeted. Right now, he is on pace to give up more pressures than any center of the last 6 seasons. So I find this matchup really interesting because I think the weaker sides of the ball will face off against each other. So I think the Chargers offense right now is the weaker side. The Colts defense is frisky, but it's the weaker side there. And then the stronger units will also face off against each other. So when the Chargers have the ball, I am curious of what bespoke, defensive game plan Lou Anarumo comes up with to attack this Chargers team right now. We're assuming as we tape that this will not be the game Joe Alt is back for.
Is this like the ultimate revenge tour though? For Lou Anarumo?
Yeah.
Why?
It wasn't me. I was not the problem. No, look, DeForest Buckner will probably swing back a little bit over the nose tackle. He'll probably play a little 1, little 3. I'm with you that Chargers win just because Miami's a disaster. Didn't move the needle for me. I don't know how they're favored right here because the Colts are playing good football. And we talk about maybe the defensive side not being the strongest side, but it's pretty damn good, and it's getting better. I just don't know if the the Chargers, as well as they can play on defense, can slow down this offense with Daniel Jones in this running game.
It's the top offense in the NFL right now. Certainly top 5, top 3 in most, if not all, categories. They are number 1 in EPA per play, number 1 in EPA per rush, rushing success rate at nearly 50%. And Daniel Jones, guys, is number 2 in the NFL through week 6 in EPA per dropback. But what I love about what they're doing, and I think it will continue to give this Chargers defense that really came out of the gate incredibly strong, but has sort of slipped and struggled with some identity issues in the games since the weeks 1 and 2 and 3 of the season. They're so balanced, the Colts are. Mm-hmm. They are running the ball. They're in 12 personnel. They're 11 personnel. They're in 11 personnel, a 2-to-1 ratio to 12 personnel, which means they're really balanced with how they want to pass the ball and then the different looks they can get into both in lighter sets and heavier sets to run the ball. And they're so balanced. They're running the ball almost 50% of the time, but they're not doing it super predictably. They're not doing it just on early downs or things like that. They're mixing things up very well. Shane Steichen's in his bag.
He's in his bag in large part, too. Their offensive line is killing it.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is playing really well. You talk about playing that 12 personnel. Tyler Warren, anybody?
Right.
Yeah. You can't even count it as 12 personnel. It's like 100 personnel with Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
And they stopped even playing like a 4th receiver last week. And they can change up what they want to do depending on the week, depending on the game plan.
And how they want to attack teams, especially deep, where coming into the season, my entire brain on the Daniel Jones situation was based solely on one stat: 8 completions of 20 or more air yards during his entire time.
That, yeah.
Entire time. in New York, drafted in 2019.
Which is crazy.
He's
crazy.
He's got 5 already.
Fly free.
Are all of them to your guy?
No, not all to Alec Pierce, but 3 of them are. but still, like he's going to eclipse his entire deep passing numbers here before we even get halfway through the season. And then over on the other side, we talked about Coach Lou. They're not necessarily in the top half, in the top third of the league in terms of pressures, but when they do get pressured, quarterbacks are only completing 40% of their passes. So, like when the wins are there, they win everywhere.
And the Chargers traded for Odafe Oweh because they don't have much of a pass rush right now, and he helped out last week in terms of their pass rush. But with Jones, he had 2 plays last week, which, again, if you're watching, like you can see these throws where he is making game-winning type of plays against pressure. There was one where he just stands in there early and hits a pass over the middle to your guy, Alec Pierce, who I like that they're using him on a more of a variety of routes lately. That's an in-cut
defenders know they
by
gotta
him.
get out of there.
And that's Daniel Jones like standing in there against pressure. Late in the game, they have a 3rd and 8, and you remember the Jonathan Taylor run to take the lead, and you remember the Jonathan Taylor being able to end the game when they know the run is coming and they have 8 in the box. But that's only set up by Daniel Jones standing in there on a 3rd and 8 before taking a hit to maybe the most underrated slot receiver in the league in terms of Josh Downs. So I don't know if the Chargers defense has enough for them.
Yeah, I mean, I expect them to kind of keep doing what they're doing and hope that this pass rush has evolved enough with Oweh's arrival and sort of getting a week at least under his feet to bring back what they really want to do under Jesse Minter, which is play like that match zone out of the shell and really make it tough for all these passing layers. Then setting up the run, the Chargers love to play with a light box. That will not bode well.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Against Jonathan Taylor. This is a bad matchup for the Chargers.
You play that scheme, they're just going to run the ball all day.
Yeah, and they can, and they should.
It's a team in terms of the Colts that is, among the league leaders and in terms of blitzing defensive backs and sim pressure. So it will really ask the offensive line to sort those things out. And Justin Herbert to sort it all out. Ultimately, you look at their 4 wins, and he's done something crazy in each one of them, and that has Jim Harbaugh's quote of the week.
The Mission Impossible movie, the final reckoning, I think it's called. I was watching that caught a little bit of that on the plane on the way back from Miami, and that's what I was like, man, like Ethan Hunt, Justin Herbert. I mean, they're people don't realize all the the things that they do. Mission Impossible kind of says it all. And then he's like Ethan Hunt.
I love that Jim Harbaugh isn't watching game film on the way home. He's watching Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Like, that's my kind of coach.
I've actually had conversations with him about this at the league meetings. Steve, you got to watch this crazy Mission Impossible type show. I watched it streaming, driving here from wherever, and it was the worst. It was horrible. I'll never tell him that unless he's listening here. But I was like, yeah, this is Jim.
I could see him and Tom Cruise getting along.
I can see him just, I don't know. I see him more as a Matlock type of guy, but I guess no.
He's a Jack Reacher,
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the injury report for this game. Charvarius Ward, had that concussion last week, and so they're getting it done, winning games with Mekhi Blackman, Jonathan Edwards, and Chris Lamons as their starting cornerbacks. And
those
so
are fake people, Greg.
Those are real people. So
those names.
when people are like, "Oh, how could the Eagles win without one just average cornerback?" It's like the Colts are getting it done with guys that you have not heard of. And then unfortunately, Brett Rippon was signed to be their backup quarterback because Anthony Richardson. I say unfortunately,
Rippon catching a stray.
What? I'm saying it's unfortunate because Anthony Richardson had the most unfortunate injury of the year, breaking his.
No.
You used to remember when he started that game against the Packers for the Rams, and that's the unfortunate.
It changed everything.
Yeah, rough. Make sure that those exercise bands are fully stable. Everybody. Nothing heavy,
awful,
especially on them. Yeah, a rough one as Richardson's fractured orbital from a resistance band and its attachment. Let's go to a team that could win the New Jersey State Championship over the course of 2 weeks. The Denver Broncos playing host to the Giants. They are favored by 7. The over-under is 40.5, the best to ever do it. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins on the call, Steve, as we get a chance to see Jaxson Dart go up against the defense that we probably don't want Jaxson Dart to play.
No, but a 7-point favorite. I mean, Denver's offense has not gotten on track. I mean, you're waiting, you see flashes, but they haven't really gotten going. And the Giants' defense is problematic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can cause some issues. The way they rotate guys up front. You know, I fully expect Denver to win this game because their defense is so insane. Nick Bonito, DPOY.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's real, folks. This is the second year in a row
listens
he's
to the
done
show.
this. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, the way they rotate guys through defensively, this is going to be so hard for the Giants to get anything going. So I love watching Denver's defense and how you see Talanoa Hufanga just like everywhere. Like he's really, Vance Joseph is like, okay, I know exactly what to do with this chess piece. Like they are just taking it to the next level defensively. So this is not going to be, I'm not saying it's definitely not going to be great for Jaxson Dart, but it's not going to be good for Jaxson Dart.
Well, I think you're going to see another game where you're concerned about like the physical well-being of Jaxson Dart as well as Cam Scatterby with some of the hits that they're going to be taking because they will try to go human battering ram, and Jaxson Dart's going to have to try to run it because he cannot complete deep passes. Unfortunately for him, Malik Neighbors being gone is a huge part of that. He only has 1 completion of 10 deep pass attempts so far since he took over. And the Broncos can play the Giants as tight as they can in coverage because they are that good in the secondary, and they are forcing the NFL's lowest passer rating for quarterbacks on short, quick passes, which is really the only thing that Jaxson Dart is able to do with this passing offense. So he's going to take off and run a lot, which is kind of feast or famine if you're the Giants. And they're still waiting, by the way. Don't go in the blue tent, guys. Okay, they're still waiting to hear
Come on.
Just don't go in there. It's not for you. It's not a place for you. Don't go in. That's it.
I worry that he will be going into that blue tent because of the way that he plays. He has such a wild statistical profile. You mentioned the deep passes. Like he is throwing deep passes if you even extend it out to 15 plus, like among the highest rates of anyone in the league. Like he's giving his guys chances to make plays, but they just have not been good throws and they're not making those plays. He's also running at by far the highest rate of any quarterback in the league. If you combine scrambles and design runs, both of those actually he's top 2. And then when you combine them, like they're as run heavy as any team out there. That said, I thought he made really good decisions.
Yep.
And that's why I'm really curious to watch this matchup because the Broncos' specialty is making substandard passing games look awful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe the Giants aren't a substandard passing game. They're coming off a pretty impressive performance against the Eagles. One of the worst game of the Vic Fangio era, I would say, was last week against this Giants passing game.
And I think the quick change of having to sub out Quinyon Mitchell and maybe some,
we don't know if he's going to be available. That's a good note. Thank you.
Having to kind of make these constant adjustments when they haven't really known what they wanted to do opposite Quinyon. And so like the sudden change there probably was a little bit of an issue. But to go back to Nick Bonito, because if you go on Next Gen Stats and you sack quarterback pressure percentage, of course there's going to be a bunch of blitzers at the top, right? Nick Bonito is the only edge defender in the top 20. Like it's all linebackers.
Yeah.
Nick, can you hear us?
Yes. We need Greg to tweet.
Greg's here too.
The crazy thing is we were patting him on the back all season too. How incredible! How he took all the gains from last year and built on it in one poorly worded tweet.
So once you're able to get that pressure, because the instant impact of Jaxson Dart was to unlock the full day ball RPO experience. And what we've seen by so much Jaxson Dart running is when the run and the instant pass, that first read pass, aren't available for Jaxson Dart, he's out the gate. But how much of that is going to be available against this defense where it's just hard to imagine other than a lot of scatterboo screens and like Jourdan said, power up the middle.
I'll tell you this about Scatterboo. I mean, anyone who plays, you never show your numbers. You never show your numbers. He shows his numbers, man. He takes shots. Like he delivers shots.
He likes it.
Yeah. Talked about week 13. He takes some blows.
I think that one thing that is promising that I know the Broncos are scouting this week about what worked for the Giants is I was pretty impressed with how Jaxson Dart handled kind of all of his assignments at the line of scrimmage for somebody so young and so inexperienced relatively. I know he's kind of an older prospect and all that, but like I point at Greg when I say this because you hate old quarterbacks.
Oh, I thought it's because I was the old one. But no, I've got Steve here with me today.
You're not even close.
Usually I am.
But he was getting a lot of information, like gathering a lot of information with some of the hard counts. He got the Eagles to jump off sides. He got them to move early or declare their pressure early. And that's something that, yes, quarterbacks worth anything in the league do this, right? But at the same time, the little tells and the little advantages and edges, like the Broncos will bring pressure. Bet on that. And they'll bring a lot of different types of pressure. And they want to try to make him run so that they can sort of keep the cap around the quarterback, as they say. So I feel like this is going to be really interesting because they're going to give him everything he's got. He's going to try to do some of the old tricks that Daboll is going to remind him to do in the headset right before it shuts off. And then after that, it's kind of going to be like 2 bowling balls versus an entire defense.
And he's been pretty good in the quick game too, which they didn't have him do at all in college. So like he's shown some really good progress, I think, from even where he was as a prospect. Whereas if you reversed Bo Nix's 2 seasons, I think people would be panicking just a little bit. And that matchup when they have the ball is interesting too. I'm not ready to declare a Shane Bowen-sance or anything, but I do think the Giants' defense last week did more of what everyone's been asking for. They benched Deonte Banks. They were much more creative in how they attacked Jalen Hurts, and I thought they had a good week. So can they build on that? The run defense has been pretty bad all year.
On the Giants' defense, though, Greg, there was still that moment where Devonta Smith was running down the field by himself.
Yeah,
like they're making the same mistakes that they've made. It's just Hurts and the Eagles' offense a little wiggly in that one. But a fun game nonetheless. Looking forward to the Giants at the Denver Broncos, but not as much fun as our next match.
Ooh, this is going to be a dandy.
The Jourdan game.
We're going back to London. The Los Angeles Rams, off of a narrow somehow win against the Baltimore Ravens, are favored by 3 against the home team in this one. Jacksonville Jaguars, 44.5 is the over-under. The game's on NFL Network, where we care about people and each other. Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, and Sarah Walsh to see the Jags try to bounce back. Jordan, I love early morning football on Sunday. Rise, shine, and watch. Are you ready for this?
I'm so ready. It's the McVay Bowl.
What did they say to Patrick at the all-hands meeting this week?
It's the McVay Tree Bowl. It's the Snead Tree Bowl.
Right.
It's the what the hell chaos might happen between either of these 2 offenses bowl because, my God, are both offenses making some mistakes. Despite the win-loss record, watching these games, you think, yes, no, about 4 plays a game from both of these offenses. The big storylines out of each side this week is Puka Nacua, obviously the Los Angeles Rams star receiver, might not play this week. I would expect him to try to go, knowing him and knowing what he did a couple years ago on a short week against Minnesota where he was ruled out and then suddenly ruled back in. Really surprised that Thursday night football game. But I don't know that it would be smart necessarily to play him in this one that far away from home with that long of a flight back in case something else happens. And then in Jacksonville, Devin Lloyd, who's leading the team in takeaways right now, is also ruled out. So that's those star players on either side. Key storylines coming out of there this week.
Yeah, it's huge. And they're also trying to integrate Greg Newsome into their defense, immediately put him like with tough assignments a week ago, and he gets burned a little bit, the Jaguars defense. So I think the loss of Lloyd, like as big as a loss as Puka is, like don't underrate the loss of Devin Lloyd to that Jaguars defense.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a guy who's, if there's a comeback player of the year for a non-injured player so far, it's Devin Lloyd. So what's Sean going to do? He's going to try to hit some stuff in that intermediate passing game. So circle the linebacker, a lot of running back passes coming that way.
Jordan Whittington.
Yeah, Whittington, some stuff that way. So it's interesting. The Jaguars are a confounding team to me because you see all the talent. Of course, Trevor is kind of the linchpin because he's just so hot and cold. And I think this is a game, if the Rams defensive front, as aggressive as they are, if Trevor runs the football, like we saw him do a couple weeks ago, if he's Clemson Trevor, they're going to put this Rams defense in some tough predicaments.
Great
and so
point.
I think this might end up being the game of the week. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. Patrick has already hyped it up to the point where it should be. And
I mean, Patrick's not the only one. Everyone's fired up for this game on NFL Network.
Yes.
fired up, but I mean, this is one where I think it's the running backs. ETN. If he gets it going, if Kyron gets it going,
Yeah.
I think that's those two guys in the run and pass games are going to be the difference.
It's two defenses where that is where you think you want to attack it. And the Jaguars started the season as one of the best looking running teams in the league. It's slowed down just a bit. The Rams numbers on the ground are fantastic. And you mentioned that battle in terms of the Rams pass rush. It is a reminder, the Jaguars offensive line to me, because I was quoting some numbers last week of like how careful you have to be with what opponents they've faced this year, because their offensive line numbers in some of these games has been fantastic, but it was against some of the worst pass rushing teams in the league. And then last week you show up against a real deal pass rush and it goes horribly. And they also were without Robert Hainsey, which ball knowers like Ollie Connolly have been saying is maybe one of the most underrated best centers in the league and really has changed their offense. We don't know about his status for this week. So they were without him. And the Rams, meanwhile, are second in the NFL in terms of QB knockdown percentage, like either a sack or a QB hit, and they barely blitz. So that is a great four-man rush and a big test for the Jaguars.
But the Jaguars are really thanking the Baltimore Ravens for that last quarter when Snoop Huntley was in the game and reminded everybody in the building and everybody watching advanced scouting from Jacksonville that the Rams pass rush, for as fearsome and talented as they are, still have so many issues covering running quarterbacks. When quarterbacks go on the move. Steve brought it up earlier. I think that if they do that type of plan against Trevor Lawrence specifically, not only do you mitigate some of that pressure against the offensive line that they're going to bring, but also if you can create out of structure at all against this front because they're having trouble containing running quarterback, the Rams secondary I do not trust at all. The safeties are good, but I do not trust any of the corners, the perimeter guys. This is I think a big crucial plot point of this game.
Yeah, an opportunity for Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter, as well as Brian Thomas Jr. to make those sorts of plays that we didn't see. We saw BTJ make a play, but Travis was lined up a foot offsides.
That's
which is one of those things.
Probably Thomas's best game of the year. It made me feel good.
Yeah, a little bit better, but if we could get BTJ to make some plays on the ball a little bit higher, not let the ball get into his body a little bit more. And over on defense, I'm just concerned with as much zone as they play, like one of the most zone dominant defenses in the league without Devin Lloyd being in the middle of it against Matthew Stafford. Who has chewed zone up, spatted out all season.
For
it's
years.
a dangerous matchup.
Yeah.
Can I raise a hand for somebody who's just balling right now? It's Nate Landman.
Yes, I was just going to say, yes.
When I see a dude get 17 tackles, that's usually when your team is getting the break speed off of it and one dude's making all the plays. 17 tackles. You know how hard that is?
And forced another fumble.
And forced another fumble, yeah.
And a fourth down stop as one of those tackles.
Yeah.
Landman.
When you're Trevor Lawrence, and yes, I fully expect them to come in with a game plan of you're running the football, be careful running it in anywhere in Nate Landman's direction because Mr. Fumble, Trevor Lawrence, is going to have a hard time holding on to that football against the punch-out of Nate Landman. Enter Landman.
I do like that you brought up Lawrence's playmaking because I've been pretty critical of Lawrence this year and even how he played last week, but the playmaking is a big reason why they were able to stay in that game, and he had some bad luck, and he has been doing better with that. I am curious in this game, too, if they can get, if there's no Puka, like, can we get Devontae unlocked a little bit? To my eye, he looks good.
Yeah.
But some drops this year, for sure. It's been quite inefficient throwing to him, like just a lot of incompletions. If you just look at the catch percentage, they're quite bad in the red zone, and a lot of those throws have been to Devontae Adams in the red zone. He was supposed to help there. His contested catch percentage is low. Like it just hasn't all been clicking yet for him, and this will be a big spotlight game on NFL Network. Wish I was there. Wembley Stadium. The Jaguars play at Wembley Stadium every year. The other games are at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And yes, this is the last London game of the year. We're just getting going on the preview show. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about one of the best rivalries in football. Before we took a little break, I teased this upcoming game between the Chiefs and the Raiders, saying one of the best rivalries in the league. And maybe the outsiders will say, well, it's one-sided. The Chiefs are heavily favored. But the fans hate each other. And rivalries are about the fans. I mean, I really do think that's where you get the college football type atmosphere. And I will say, maybe the rest of the league doesn't care too much about Antonio Pierce losing his job in terms of their wins and losses. I think the Chiefs are one team that's happy Antonio Pierce lost that job, because Antonio Pierce had a pretty good beat on the Chiefs offense over the last couple of years, and the Raiders made those games close.
Yeah.
Won some too.
In fact, I think we don't get a couple of Chiefs Super Bowls if the Raiders didn't win and drive that bus around Arrowhead Stadium and take a victory lap. And Andy Reid said afterwards they won that game, so they can do anything they want to do. But then he added, that's not our style. Kansas City Chiefs,
John Gruden era.
Go to 3 Super Bowls after that. And now they play host to those Las Vegas Raiders. They are an 11.5-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. CBS 1, it's Jim, Tony, and Tracy on the call as Greg, the Chiefs are going to get Rashee Rice back. Are they a fully operational battle station?
They are. They already are one of, if not the best offense in the league before getting Rice back. It's it's crept up on us a little bit, but they're second in DVOA. This is the best 3-game stretch I mentioned in terms of points scored that they've had since 22. It's a really good offensive line. And yeah, when you look at those strength, the schedule numbers, sometimes it's about when you play them. This feels like the worst time to play the Chiefs, getting Rice back. Meanwhile, the Raiders are going to have just their static defense. All the guys play all the snaps. They're one of the only teams. They just play 2 cornerbacks, and that's it. And Q Blue Kelly and Eric Stokes, they will be out there for every single snap. And I feel like they're going to have a difficult time in this one.
I think Jordan and I are quietly chuckling when you said the Chiefs offensive line with all the tweets we exchanged earlier this year. Ooh, left tackle, right guard, man. That's an issue. But
on balance.
But they've looked so good. And that's without their left tackle playing last week.
Or probably this week. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, that
Hopefully
sounds.
everything's okay.
Yeah,
I don't really know a lot of
real peculiar about what's going on. But they got it. I don't know if it was Mahomes going in there saying, guys, it's over. Flip the switch. Let's go. Because Kelsey's playing, getting both tight ends involved in the passing game, opening up everything from intermediate to the deep passing game. And all of a sudden, their run game looks legit. Mm-hmm. Where's Pacheco been? Now he's showing up. Kareem Hunt finishing off games the way they're playing. So they just had it. You could tell it was okay, it's time to get it going. Same thing they did last year, and they are rolling right now. And then the Raiders, man, year away from being a year away.
Yeah,
that's your favorite.
It is, but it's true.
That's sad.
We're there.
I think with the Chiefs offense, the best way I could probably describe them is looming in a good way for them, in an ominous way, I think, for everybody else, because you can see some of the little cogs and wheels in Andy Reid's brain and Patrick Mahomes' brain starting to turn a little bit more with some of the things that they're setting up. More under center runs last week, for example. Okay, you're setting things up to have that stability, to start moving Patrick Mahomes' spot in a way that's natural, not him running for his life, in a way that's starting to unlock some of the misdirection and some of the things that we know Andrew Reid really wants to do vertically and horizontally with these speed receivers. You're starting to see the offensive line dig in and sink in together, even with the league's highest paid backup left tackle or swing tackle. Played pretty well last week, to your point, Greg. And so I feel like this is the Chiefs starting to, when someone, I've never been punched, but when somebody is winding up, they're about to haul back and hit you. That's what the Chiefs are doing right now. They're locked and loaded here.
Yeah, we've come fresh off of a team getting hit. In the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Juju got hit.
Did not actually mean to be.
You landed one right in the kisser there.
Oh, man, whoopsies.
And some defenders around the league have reached out and said, Brian Branch did nothing wrong after that. Apparently, there's some sneaky heat with Juju and a lot of defenders.
I feel like Juju is very much in the CJ Gardner-Johnson mode.
Yeah.
Just someone
got
that
released recently.
just pokes the other team. And there was a clip of him with a totally dirty blindside block on Brian Branch with 3 minutes left in that game. So that provided some context to that post game.
The Brian Branch hit him then.
Right. I'm not defending, but it gives context. I was like, okay.
Hit him then.
Okay, I accidentally sidetracked our entire
it's fine.
conversation.
It's fun.
I know who Patrick would like to hit.
No, no one.
Chip Kelly.
Well, no, I look. No, if I'm in the Patrick violence draft, Chip Kelly is way down the list.
Okay.
You know what? You're right.
How about among NFL figures, though? You'd be high up there.
It's still, if we're doing wish casting, I'm not a violent.
I mean, what's he doing to
Violence is-
Geno?
I
It's
know.
just like,
Yeah.
It's a lot of short passes.
50%.
Where it's like we're hiding Geno at this point and maybe hiding the rest of the offense, which is probably like a good idea. Ashton Genty able to have a 32% missed tackle rate, but that not necessarily translating to that many yards, especially like if you think about a guy like Bijan, who we saw in space breaking tackles, like Ashton Genty breaking tackles to a similar extent, but having to do so much work behind the line of scrimmage where it's just not necessarily happening. And so, yeah, like not to put it all on Chip, but at some point, you got to do something different if you want different results.
Yeah, it's that and the offensive line and no Brock Bowers all in confluence.
and Bauer's not expected to play in this game
Yeah.
at this point.
And all in confluence with each other and the inability to coach around it. And I think all of that at once is true.
So we alluded to it before, but just to clarify, Josh Simmons, their first round left tackle, is away from the team with a personal issue. He was in California. They asked Patrick Mahomes about it, and he said he was praying for Josh Simmons.
Yeah.
And that's just where we're at with that situation. Otherwise, it's a very healthy team, the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most in the entire NFL. And I think replacing those Juju snaps with Rashee Rice snaps is going to add even more speed to a speedy offense.
They may be old, but they're healthy.
And the defense looked like a Chiefs defense. Last couple years. Chris Jones balled out. Carl Aftis balled out. Nick Bolton balled out. Drew Tranquil. We say it every year. Like, Chargers actually let this guy go. Like, he shows up. Like, that defense is playing Chiefs defense now, too.
All right. Congratulations to the resurgent Kansas City Chiefs who have been doubted and disrespected enough, and I guess they're going to go back to the AFC
It's been
Championship.
so long.
On the heels of all of our collective disrespect. Speaking of, the Miami Dolphins are on the road at the Cleveland Browns, where we'll get to see Dylan Gabriel going once again. 2.5-point favorites are the Browns at home. Spiro Didis, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkhabwala there in what has been a tumultuous week of a whole bunch of tumultuous weeks in Miami, Steve. Who do you side with?
And Tua's facing the guy who broke all of his high school records over on the island of Oahu.
And that's pretty cool. Just before we even get into it's pretty cool. 2 left-handed quarterbacks from Hawaii. One Hawaiian, one of Samoan descent. One who was like kind of like a childhood hero, a guy you looked up to the other. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
awesome.
this is going to be in the two teams of chaos right now. The Browns trying to figure it out. Myles Garrett saying must be nice to be able to rush the passer with a touchdown lead after last week's game, and Tua basically airing out some home business when he should have kept that to himself. I'm sure he's endeared himself to some Thanksgiving dinner invitations by his team. Look, this is one right here where I think Cleveland, if they're going to win a ball game,
Sorry.
this has got to be it. Their defense has got to show up against an offense that can't figure anything out. Dylan Gabriel, you can show up. You can beat Tua again. You already got his high school records. You can get him again because this Dolphins defense.
There's no
It's not
teeth.
it.
There are no teeth.
There's nothing there. You're seeing Jalen Phillips, a good player, just getting unable to bring quarterbacks down. It is, and after what happened last week, I mean, you talk about something that can blow a locker room up. That is absolutely the powder keg what Tua did after that game, where it's going to be every man for himself pretty soon.
And I'll take Patrick's line. The thing that matters most, and it's compounding the issues that are clearly surfacing week after week after week in that building, and the frustrations with each other and the bad looks by Tua and bad looks all around for this entire team. The worst of all is that they can't stop anything.
No.
And just when they're starting to get their offense itself back together, starting to look okay in the passing game, at least, even without Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller has really come around.
Right.
Miami is allowing opposing offenses to score 60% of the time. That is
huge.
that is That is a record since 2000. Like that is the most important thing.
No, it's not their
It's
their cybersecurity attendance reports.
Tua did apologize. He said I think he got some internal heat too. Like he apologized on Wednesday, and they all tried to move past. He said he's going to keep things in house from now on.
It's over.
But I agree with you. It is ultimately the defense
Can we keep
that
the
matters
defense
more.
in house?
So they did make some changes last week. I noticed Kenneth Grant playing a lot less. Their first round pick. They put Minkah Fitzpatrick in the slot, so that helped out, I believe, in terms of their secondary. They have 3 safeties on the field essentially at the time, but they've just had such surprising no shows. Chop Robinson has 6 pressures this year.
Oh,
I'm shocked by that. He looked so good last year. And he's not on the field that much, but 6 pressures is crazy. Chubb hasn't been good, and their second round pick, Jonah Savanea on the offensive line, like that might be the worst guard combination, him and Cole Strange, in the league. So they're trying to overcome a lot, and this is a very tough defense to try to overcome it against. But on the flip side, like the Browns' offense is a sinkhole too. So it's weakness
Not
on
their
weakness.
running back. Not
That's
their
fair.
running back.
This week could be a Quinshon Judkins week.
Yeah, you
Could be.
Yeah, you're playing fantasy football. You might want to have him starting for you this week.
I noticed PFF has they rank receivers, which it's not like the perfect position, but I just happened to notice out of the guys who had 20 targets, out of 68 wide receivers, ranked 67th and 68th were Isaiah Bond and Jerry Jeudy. And like out of 87 receivers in ESPN's receiver score, Jerry Jeudy was 87th. I mean, he is killing them with drops and penalties and not being as open. And Gabriel hasn't been perfect, but they had 5 drops on him last week.
including one where I really saw. I mean, I've been kind of high on Dylan Gabriel anyway, since hearing all about him when he was still a prospect and what scouts were thinking of him and all that stuff. But there was a throw that Dylan Gabriel, and I think that they connect on this week. Dylan Gabriel getting the ball to Harold Fannin. I think that's a huge part of what
In the end zone,
game plan is.
dropping?
Is down the left sideline.
Okay.
And he was going to go all. I mean, it was
Yeah,
going
I
to
was
be
saying
for sure a house call. And Harold Fannin dropped it, and it was a beautiful. Could not have hit him anymore and led him with the throw. Could not have been a more gorgeous timing throw, and it was like that's the future of what this game is going to look like and what the next few games are going to look like for the Browns. If they can connect on those, you're going to start to see some positivity kind of leaking out of that Browns offense and certainly that building.
The vibes for the loser of this game will be horrendous.
I got to preview.
Horrendous.
The vibes are going to be bad no matter what.
No, the win, it'll feel better. Dolphins, they can't lose this game, but I would say the same.
And yet,
they're underdogs to the Browns.
60%.
Speaking of 60%,
That's most of Greg's first name.
the Dolphins run to the left 61.9% of the time.
Huh.
They're one-handed on offense. Devon Achane gets hit behind the line of scrimmage when they run right 56% of the time.
Well, there goes your
Oh, yeah.
Only 29% when they go the other way. So yeah, that's the direction, Miles, that the Fins will be running.
Miles, he playing on the right side this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no meeting attendance reports will be shared because apparently that's the worst thing to ever happen.
60%.
It's a lot. To our next matchup, the resurgent Carolina
Here we
Panthers
go.
defense
Here
is
we
going
go.
on the road. We'll see if your Evero squad, which is incredible in Charlotte, can be good on the road at the Jets in New Jersey as they try to bounce back from a nightmare performance in London. Jordan, the over-under is 42.5. Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Sarah Kustok on the call. Do Fields and the gang bounce back?
I can't believe I'm saying this right now. This feels like a trap game for the Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
Honestly, behind an emerged running game, they are third in offensive rushing success third in offensive rushing success rate and have improved to number 14 overall for the season in EPA per play on offense. They are ascending. They did, and people were quick to point this out to me. I am cumulative here. People were quick to point out they played the Dolphins and the Cowboys defenses. Okay, fine. But for the entirety of the year, this is a dramatic upswing and improvement week over week by this team that's starting to figure it out, that's getting an identity behind Rico Dowdle. This is pretty cool. They're getting some guys back, but Cade Mays, they're getting Austin Corbett back, but Cade Mays might keep the job. He looks great at center.
Yeah, and look, schedule matters. I checked this because I was curious. Like, offensively, they faced the second easiest schedule in the league. And
Good for them. They needed it.
Right. It's only going to get easier this week. But in terms of like the defensive improvement, they just shut down one of the best running games in the league. So they turned a total weakness in terms of their run defense into a strength. It's bizarre, though, because to use a fantasy football term, they're a pass funnel now where they're much better stopping the run, the Panthers' run defense, than they are. They're still pretty bad stopping the pass. That's not a good matchup for the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets are not a team that can take advantage of you through the air, especially without Garrett Wilson, and he's not practicing Wednesday. It's uncertain if he'll play, this week, but it's not sounding great.
I mean, look at the Panthers. Rico Dowdle's got 400 plus
455
yards in 2 games. They're running the ball well, and it's not like they're handcuffing Bryce. I mean, I think he threw it just more than 20 times last game, but he threw it 30 the previous game. He's being fairly efficient. He hasn't thrown for more than 200 yards in those games. That's was the quick passing game. But Teteroa McMillan got his first touchdown. He looks right. This offense looks fine. I love the way that some of the blocking schemes that they're doing. And then Rico Dowdle, once he gets to the next level, he's doing his thing. The Jets aren't great defensively. There's no reason to think the Dowdle train's going to stop. And offensively, the Jets, I think it might be time for us to look at Justin Fields and say maybe it's not the offensive coordinators of the scheme.
But that
might just be the quarterback.
But that's why I'm saying this feels like a trap. There is some interesting splits in like how Bryce Young and this defense, by the way, has played in home games versus away games. The passer rating difference is 94.8 at home games, 76.8 in away games. The stats touchdown to interception ratio is not that different, 5-2 at home, 5-3 away. But his completion percentage drops on the road and his EPA per play drops on the road. And so I'm like, okay, I've been seeing Bryce Young put it together, right? And this run game is really stabilizing him and some of the decisions that he's making and that laser on 4th down to Hunter Renfrow to just basically essentially win this game last week. And the confidence that he's playing with, like I see it, and I'm like, don't play down to your opponent this week.
I mean, they were the underdogs.
Don't get trapped
until everyone started betting it. So at least when it opened, like the Jets were considered the favorite. I don't think they're at
the line is for, Greg.
No, I get it, but either way, it's sort of viewed as a toss up. I do think the Jets defense played so much better in that game in London than they had all season long that you could at least hope that a turnaround is happening there because there were pretty specific changes that they made. Like Jarvis Brownlee has turned into a dude as their slot cornerback who they traded for. Jermaine Johnson was back, and that gives them
that changed
a big time upgrade. And then who is it they benched? It was their safety, Tony Adams. They just stopped playing him, and they played Malachi Moore. And so they made some changes, and so maybe their defense, to give some positivity, is on the upswing for the Jets.
Yes, to the extent that Sean Payton was making rage play calls, just out of sheer frustration.
Also, Chuba Hubbard might be back for this game,
and then
but
you
there's
have a decision to make.
There's no promise. It sounds like they're going with Rico Dowdle as the starter because he said there's no promise that they're going to start Chuba Hubbard.
The Jets defense is watching the Panthers defense, and this is the Lord, I've seen what you've done for others game. Like,
yeah,
wow.
Hoping for a turnaround that I did not think was possible, but they've done it. And so, like previously, as of 3 weeks ago, I was saying, "Oh, Breece goes huge in this game." But considering what we've seen in the past few weeks, I'm not necessarily
get a win, get to 4-3, Carolyn.
I tell you, the Panthers to me are one of the top 4 or 5 storylines.
I love it.
In terms of like the big surprises, because did not see this coming.
I love them because they've taken so much smoke over the last.
They've earned
years.
it. They've
earned it, but especially on defense and man, I like seeing them play with more confidence. I don't want to hear about their schedule. I'm sorry. They need
schedule explains so much in the NFL, but that's okay. It's just how it works. Same thing with the Patriots.
But beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
Competent teams beat the teams they're supposed to beat. This team hadn't been competent. Now they look competent and then some, and I love it. And it's near and dear to my heart, Greg. Let me have this.
Speaking of those New England Patriots, they are a 7-point favorite on the road as Mike Vrabel makes his return to Nashville, Tennessee to take on the franchise that ruined it. Well, gave him a great opportunity to go coach for the team that he used to play for. The over-under is 42.5. Andrew Catalon, Charles Davis, Jason McCourty, and AJ Ross on the call. Do the Titans get the coach firing bump, Greg?
I think they will. I think they'll play tough. I believe in the mystical power of the fired coach principle. Our guy Spice Rack, who's been on the show many times, has the numbers, and the numbers support it. And in this case, it is a revenge game. Mike Vrabel certainly did not like how ownership in Tennessee handled the end of his tenure, not just allowing John Robinson to trade A.J. Brown, but then how they fired Mike Vrabel for Rand Carthon, and he didn't even last a year there. And you're right, it did end up happily for Vrabel in a place he's familiar with. He did have to spend a year with the Browns before that, so that couldn't have been that much fun.
And adjacent to Ohio State, where
Chip Kelly.
That's where he learned a lot.
He had some players there, though.
Let's listen to Mike Vrabel talk about his return to Nashville.
This is going to be probably a lot to be said about this, and I think would file under the category of, is it interesting or important? And I would probably say this would be very interesting, but in the end, not very important to our preparation or what we need to continue to try to do to improve as a team.
Love that dichotomy.
I'm obsessed with that.
So
I love
good.
that.
I'm going to go through, just inspired by Vrabel here, some things.
What if someone
Okay.
called you interesting but not important? How would you?
Story of my life.
That would be rough.
I'd be like pretty much on point.
I think that could be a segment, I feel like, for our show. Just throwing out things, whether it's interesting or important. Marcus Jones, important.
Yes.
Sneaky, one of the best players on the Patriots this year. Certainly outstanding as a returner, but he is getting it done week after week at cornerback.
Done that for a couple of years, though.
Yeah, but this year it's been next level. Sometimes cornerbacks have those years where not just the ball finds them, but that they make game-changing plays like week after week. He has been their best cornerback, much better than Carlton Davis, who's making all that money, for instance. The Patriots are dead last in the league in EPA per rush.
Yes.
I would say that's interesting and important.
Yes, and only 33% rushing success rate, which is also way at the bottom of the league, and they're not blocking it either. Less than a yard before contact per rush.
Oh, yeah. I put almost
terrible.
nothing on
Terrible.
Travion and Ramondre.
Important and interesting.
Yes. The fumbles are on Ramondre, but they can't block, which just outlines how well May is playing. And I think schedule is massive. I think it's massive. Schedule really does explain a lot of what we talk about in the NFL, and sometimes you just have the cake schedule.
The personal shot.
And the Patriots have had a cake schedule, and they're going to continue to have a cake schedule. If you look at the bottom 10 teams in terms of EPA per play or whatever in the entire league, they're all on the Patriots schedule. And that's helped Drake May out, but the level of that he's playing is higher than I could have even expected.
We could say this every year, though, when it comes to
Fair.
scheduling and things like this. Here's why I think it's interesting and maybe not important. Not only when you mentioned John Robinson getting fired when Mike Vrabel was coaching in Tennessee because of the A.J. Brown trade, Brian Callahan just got fired because Mike Vrabel has taken his young quarterback to new heights. Brian Callahan took him nowhere. So I think that factored into part of that decision as well because they were a disaster. Look, I don't think Tennessee gets the bump. I just, hey, winners, good spirits, they got no players. I mean, I'm not saying this to take a shot at them, but I do not understand the roster construction for over the past 3 years for how they tried to build this team. Now, they finally got their quarterback. Receivers are all over the place. The offensive line's all over the place. The defense has Jeffrey Simmons and whom else? It's one of these things where at least with the Patriots now, you can see some semblances of their roster construction. They're trying to fix an offensive line that's not good. They got the quarterback. They got him going. They've got some offensive pieces they're trying to get going. Titans have no identity, and it's going to take them a while to get that identity because we don't even know if Bergonzi, who's leading this coaching search, is going to be back as GM. He's only been with the Chiefs, which is why Matt Nagy's being mentioned as a potential head coach candidate for that job. And I think he's definitely. I would be stunned if he doesn't get an interview. But this week, I just don't think they get the bump. I think the Patriots go 5-2. They've got the tiebreaker over.
Are they
Bills.
buyers at the deadline, Greg?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have tons of cap space.
Yep.
Yeah.
They want to take advantage of this opportunity
Well,
going into division.
Maybe they look across the sideline
Exactly.
at some pieces.
Yep.
Personally, I think the Titans could, build for the future and ship out Snead and Simmons to Baltimore, for fifth-round picks. As
For
that would,
no reason whatsoever.
Simmons would be an interesting. Doesn't really make sense on the Patriots, where their best position, I guess, is defensive tackle. Calvin Ridley feels like a guy that should
Buffalo
and will be traded. I wouldn't necessarily want him on the Patriots. Just seems like an inconsistent player. They got enough solid receivers. I think
Stephon Diggs showing up for
embarrassment of
Greg.
riches for Greg.
I know. I'm just saying, Kayshon Boutte is
Yeah.
worth keeping in the lineup. Stephon Diggs is doing his thing. If you're gonna go get someone, go get AJ Brown. Go get a premier player. But they don't need another 2/3. Mike Vrabel, by the way, not getting too sentimental about it, said that a Goodwill off 8th Avenue in Nashville got a fantastic haul of his Titans memorabilia. He's not a guy who keeps mementos. So my guess is it's gone by now because he moved quite a while ago. But that's if you're looking for a sweaty undershirt with Titans on it
Sustainable
that Mike
fashion.
Vrabel once wore.
Wow.
Upcycled.
Probably not all sweaty. The coaches get a lot of merch.
Yeah.
And
Good for him for not pitching it.
and welcome back to the head coach merch world, Mike McCoy. Went 5-11 in that last Phillip Rivers year for the San Diego Chargers. Back in our lives as the Titans
interim head coach. Yeah, I was there. I was there for Mike McCoy's final game.
Oh.
Was a sad day because Chargers fans, had to say goodbye to their
old Jack Murphy
to their team. I will never just forget the smell in that stadium. It just. It is never. I've never been at a sporting event, and including the Dr. Dre halftime show, that just more people were smoking joints the entire game. It was just like a big old party. It was as San Diego as it gets. This show was I'm not going to say as San Diego as it gets, but it was relaxed. It was fun, a lot like San Diego. We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna be back with all the NFC games. So listen up.
Matthew Stafford. Oh my God.
Welcome back to NFL Daily, where we can't believe the disrespect of what's happening in Vegas. And I usually just don't jump right into the games, but the Bucs, 5.5-point underdogs, and Patrick will tell me they're just putting the number in a way that's gonna inspire people to go. But that, in theory, you want it to be on both sides. And I feel like everyone would be taking the Bucs as a 5.5-point dog to a banged-up Lions team.
Yes, correct.
That proof.
That's what they want.
Therein lies the point.
Okay. Well, this is why I'm not doing very well on game debut and why I'm not allowed to do anything
Greg
like
is
this.
the
You never
defending
picked the Bucks anyway. What are you so upset
picks
about?
champion. Greg has successfully picked the actual Super Bowl before. Either way, don't let Greg sell himself short. You know who will never sell himself short? One Baker Mayfield, his Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on the road to take on those Detroit Lions. The disrespectful, according to Greg, line of 5.5 as the Detroit Lions are giving that up. The over-under is 52.5. And Steve, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters and Laura Rutledge are going to see a great game with two of the NFC's best, but with the Lions coming off a rough loss.
That was a tough loss.
How do you see this?
Yeah, look, I think the Lions do bounce back. They didn't look. Jared Goff and that offense could never get going. They got stuffed after that opening drive, and I think it's like, okay, let's figure this out. The Chiefs, that's what I said, the Chiefs defense was back, but they just couldn't stay on the field. The Lions, so Amon-Ra St. Brown, this offense for the Lions, I think will click a little bit better, put more points up. The fact that it's 5.5, Patrick, to your point, there's no way by the time the game gets here, it's 5.5. And just Tampa Bay, all the injuries too. I mean, at some point they have to stack up.
But to me, Detroit's injuries are more of a concern.
They're complementary injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
Because losing your two starting cornerbacks, Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed, and then losing Deion Branch and Kirby Joseph, who is going to be on the injury report, and we'll see if he actually plays. That's all at one position, and it's a vulnerable position. And we've seen at this point that the Bucs can handle losing skill position guys. So no Ibuka this week, but you probably get Mike Evans back. He is back at practice. No Chris Godwin. He wasn't a factor really when he was out there ultimately anyways this season. And they've been fine without Bucky Irving. The offensive line is healthy. So to me, if I was judging like which injuries I'm more worried about, it's actually the Lions because I think that secondary could get cut up by your boy, Baker.
Johnson.
Baker
Oh, God.
keeps on rolling, baby.
This is going to send me to the grave. Johnson, and Shepard, Esquired. Those are going to be the go-to guys, depending on Mike Evans' status. Now, that's a hamstring. So, yes, absolutely could imagine him being back on the field. Don't know how many deep goes he's getting sent on or what his role will actually be. But Baker Mayfield was hitting those other guys who made plays for him. You know, this coaching staff was so excited about Tez Johnson all through training camp and really was impressed by how well he did. Probably the surprise of the group was Cameron Johnson, who steps up and makes a big play, catches a touchdown pass. And I think on the other side, where the Detroit Lions are having some serious issues in their secondary, you're starting to watch the Buccaneers secondary truly come to life. Jamel Dean and Jacob Parrish are both really, really impressive.
Boy, Parrish is a good player.
Good player.
Man.
Teams are attacking him, and he is standing up to it. And Jamel Dean is good for 1 takeaway, 2 takeaways a game, or at least a splash play.
Yeah, and so this opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I understand because Ibuka is a significant loss.
Yeah.
And I think going into the game, knowing that he's probably not available is a lot different than losing him in the middle of the game. Probably more for Sterling Shepard in the targets than, because Tez Walker is a great explosive playmaker. Excuse me, Tez Johnson. I'm getting, wish casting for
there you go.
My Tez, my preferred Tez. But Tez Johnson, right, on those deep plays, on plays where they try to get him the ball in space, but consistently in the route, like where Baker trusts him to be, I think it's more of a Sterling Shepard game against, like, considering the entire Lions secondary might not be there as much as I would lean to pick Detroit in this game. Like, missing your entire secondary, like 5 points might kind of, it's like, that's insane.
This is just one where the way that Detroit just got handled last game.
Yeah.
I just think they
come out mad.
They come out, they go on these 12 and 13 play drives, right? They keep the ball away from Baker. They run him to death. Dave Montgomery, they do everything they have to do in this game. I just think this is one, you could look at the personnel and this and that, but this is one for Detroit. They got out physicaled, which doesn't happen to the Lions.
In this game, though, when they try to run the ball, like that is a great run defense they're going up against. And so that's a fascinating matchup. The numbers are...
You don't have to run it with those two.
Sure.
Throw it to them.
They have not had a lot of explosive plays, surprisingly, in their running game this year. Montgomery certainly hasn't, but even Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't really been hitting like the plus 20 plays like you're used to. And the numbers are great in terms of yards before contact. So I think the offensive line, for the most part, is doing it. But that's strength on strength when they're trying to run the ball. And I give the Bucs defense plenty of credit and plenty of ability to slow them down. I don't know who I'm going to pick in this game. I'm probably leaning Bucs. They're also getting Zion McCollum back, it sounds like. And I expect Evans to play just because Todd Bowles is not a guy who tries to hide things injury-wise. And he basically just sounds very optimistic that both Evans and McCollum are back. And so that's really big. And this could have big timing implications. By the end of the season, maybe one of these teams is the number 1 seed in a pretty wide-open NFC.
Quick other injury note on the Lions side for the positive. Dan Campbell said on the local radio out in Detroit as of Wednesday morning that Aleem McNeil is, quote-unquote, freaking playing.
Let's go.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
Greg
big.
loves the Lions D tackles.
That's big.
What are you trying to say?
You like to eat
D
tackles.
Okay, I thought you were being
back. No.
He is amazing. I do worry.
Yeah, he is.
Sometimes you get excited when the guy's coming back from a really, really serious injury, and then you realize, it's going to take a minute. That just happened with Chris Godwin. So, let's just ease him in, low expectations, just help out.
My expectations are right where they should be because frickin' playing is a different situation than, he's going to play.
He's freaking playing,
He's
man.
frickin' playing, man.
That's some optimism
Right?
that he's going to show up and actually play well.
Next matchup, the spiraling Philadelphia Eagles in the Carson Wentz revenge game. The Eagles favored by 1.5. They are at the Minnesota Vikings. The over-under is 43.5. Adam Amin, G. Reg, and Pam Oliver on the call as Jourdan. How do the Birds stop this slide?
I mean, here's the thing. There was this debate over the first part of the season about the people who are worried about the Eagles legitimately because some of the symptoms that they were showing were signs of a greater illness that we've seen in the past, right? And then there were the people that were getting so mad at the people who were worried, right? And now I think we can see it's okay to be worried about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a game they have to have. The fact that Minnesota's defensive line is not playing up to the standard that was advertised or invested in this offseason when they kept trying to add to that group, they've allowed 15 explosive runs through 5 games in 2025. There are only 3 explosive runs through 5 games in 2024. The Minnesota Vikings front, this reinvested, reimagined front. So if you're going to get back on track, if you're going to get Saquon Barkley back on track, if you're going to get this embattled, and I can't believe I'm saying this embattled Eagles offensive line back on track, you are going to try to run it right at Minnesota and that Brian Flores defense that has to get back to playing the way that we're used to seeing it play.
And I feel like trying hasn't been the issue for the Eagles. Like there have been some games where the fans are like, well, why did you go so pass heavy here? For the most part, they've just been banging their head against the wall. Yeah. It's not creative.
I agree.
It's not creative. It's not effective. And they are embattled, but they're the ones embattling themselves. Like Lane Johnson, for all the talk that A.J. Brown's, Instagram posts or whatever got, like Lane Johnson saying after the game that they're predictable and that they need to be more creative. To me, that is more meaningful than anything else.
Yeah.
And that's Lane Johnson, saying that. So I'm very curious to see how that running game, which that you can go through a lot of the numbers in terms of how much Saquon's been hit in the backfield and everything. It's ghastly. Like it is just not working for them.
What he's saying is we're leaving a lot of stuff on tape that teams are taking advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that's what they're prepping for. Brian Flores will go ahead and set that up. The interesting thing is J.J. McCarthy is supposed to be healthy enough to play this week.
But but you can't make him the backup. You got to at least pretend that he's not healthy enough to play.
Why?
Because then,
is that fragile?
if he's healthy enough to play and he's not playing and he's not starting for you, that's
if he's healthy enough to play, he's going to start.
I don't think so. I think he is healthy. Well, he's got to practice this week.
But that's the main thing.
But when Kevin O'Connell said on Wednesday, I believe, that they've really been focused on improving his lower body mechanics and that he won't be able to play until he demonstrates that the lower body mechanics are better. And Carson Wentz, he basically indicated
he doesn't care about his lower body.
Is fine. And I think Carson Wentz is starting this game over a healthy J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, if Wentz starts, it's, we'll
see.
What's his offense going to be? I mean, Wentz could give you a great one, or he can lay an egg. I mean, you just don't know. But the Vikings are kind of like, to me, too, like the Eagles, like, man, they just haven't hit it yet.
Yeah.
Because they can't score. We just don't know what they are offensively. I mean, defensively, I think they're going to be fine. I mean, we talk about some of the run issues that they have. At some point, Philadelphia's going to have to pass.
Yeah.
And that's where all the question marks come in.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if the Vikings can take advantage of an Eagles defense that hasn't played well and make some plays regardless of who's a quarterback. That guy there, 18, Justin Jefferson, needs to be going off because he's going to have some opportunity.
And have to wait to see like which of the very, very important Philadelphia Eagles defenders are available for this game, because no Carter, no Quinyon was a huge issue in the game against the Giants. And like we've got another year of like this journeyman quarterback now playing for Kevin O'Connell, taking all these deep shots. 34.8% of Carson Wentz's balls are going down the field. Like we're getting aggressive Carson Wentz and being able to throw to 18 probably is a big part of that. But like how aggressive is O'Connell going to be against this Fangio defense? It's an interesting game, and I'm excited.
I am really excited too. I think I'm going to assign myself this game. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I really want to see it.
Hey, you're the host, man. You should.
I want to see more Carson Wentz.
Well,
Let's go.
The thing that I don't want to have my point misconstrued either. So like when I say you cannot have JJ be the backup to Carson Wentz if JJ is healthy enough to play. I remember back in 2020 when Kevin O'Connell was the offensive coordinator for right in the middle of the divorce between Sean McVay and Jared Goff, when a healthy enough to play Jared Goff was benched for John Walford. And that was the point of no return. I'm not saying there's a fracture in Minnesota at all, but you invested in this young man, in JJ McCarthy, and you have to at least say, okay, even if he's healthy enough to play, you're not going to make him the backup to Carson Wentz, putting him in this like weird like headline zone of noise and mess that they tried so hard to avoid all of last year and all of entering this year. You make Max Brosmer the backup and you just roll with it and you say, when JJ is healthy enough to play, he will come start for us. That is what you do.
The problem in that instance, though, was McVay making the wrong decision.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Yeah, as long as you make the
Listen,
right decision.
You're not always predicting that the backup quarterback who becomes a starter is leaving Seattle in an ambulance. Like, you're not predicting that happening.
Also, JJ's 22 and has started 2 games, so
I'm just saying
you're ultimately putting him a healthy one behind Max Brosmer, who's an undrafted rookie. Who's older, but
he's not healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
That's what you say. He's not healthy enough to play. It's not his mechanics. It's not his this, that, or the other. You say he is not healthy enough to play. Carson Wentz is starting for us this week. Max Brosmer is the backup. When JJ McCarthy is healthy enough to play, he is our starter. That's all you do.
Or
I don't think they believe that.
Or
though.
we get to the real point, though, is you got to do that for Carson Wentz, because remember, Jalen Hurts wasn't even playing. He was just drafted, and Carson was, he got the yips. So if Carson might be looking over his shoulder in any way, shape, or form, that's why you make the move you're making, because Carson has shown when he's got a capable backup that maybe he's not as comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's okay if
I think it's just be honest.
Yeah.
What?
Honesty is good. Even because if you're honest and it's like, well, JJ is playing bad, so we're going to play Carson Wentz, and then ultimately JJ goes to the Browns and leads a franchise revolution.
Guys, we're not even close. Come on now.
Patrick.
Come on now. We're not even close. We're not even close to getting to the points to where you guys are insinuating we're going here. I am just saying you have dealt with headlines about this kid that you invested so much in for 2 years now. And is he going to be ready? And it's okay if he's going to take some time to actually be ready.
Yeah.
I think just say that. Yeah.
So don't put him into any situations in the press, in whatever. Don't talk him into any situations. Don't back him into any corners that he can't cash out himself. Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about this yet. Like this isn't a split or a fracture or anything like that. I'm saying you don't need to even pretend that this guy's going to be playing or on the field for you in any sort of emergency option until he's actually ready to be on the field for you. You don't have to pretend. Just do what I'm telling you.
Just listen. Also, there's a very real chance he's starting on Sunday.
Yeah.
We
So this
honestly
might mean nothing, like most things.
Don't even know. And they might look at this matchup, too, as like one that they could get over on. We'll move on, but the Eagles' defensive decline is way bigger and like more significant than the offensive decline this year. The offensive decline basically hasn't even happened. Quinyon Mitchell did practice in a limited fashion. So did Jalen Carter, and so did Landon Dickerson. So it does look like they're going to get some good injury news in terms of players back.
And they've needed it. Let's go to, you want to talk about a defense that is resurgent. On Sunday Night Football, the Atlanta Falcons defense is going on the road. The defense led by former Jets interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich putting on a show on Monday night, taking on the San Francisco 49ers, who were favored by 2.5 points, Greg. The over-under is 47.5. It's Sunday night, so Mike, Chris, and Melissa will be there. We will all be there. We'll be podcasting and waiting to watch a great game. How do you think that game goes?
I have no idea. These two teams are perfect examples of, I think, where the NFL is right now, where 20 teams have 3 wins or more, and you're just not really sure. Like, do we trust Atlanta? It's a short week coming off such a big win to go across the country, and they might not have either of their starting tackles. Then again, the 49ers are so banged up. Their defense is just like a walking bummer at this point to not have Bosa and Warner. Brock Purdy could be back. He was limited in practice. Pearsall was not at practice. George Kittle is fully expected to play, according to Shanahan and John Lynch in terms of their optimism publicly, and he was back at practice. So there's just like so much up in the air, and that these coaches, I predict mess. That's what I predict.
It is interesting because Kyle Shanahan said early in the week that while Mac Jones and Brock Purdy are both limited, Brock Purdy is more limited.
Yeah.
So this could be yet another Mac Jones game. Man, you guys mentioned Atlanta's defense. Oh, the show that they put on against Josh Allen and the Bills. Sorry to our producer, Eric, behind the glass over there, who's been hitting me with the killer drops all day today. But I get my revenge on you
Jourdan
now. No,
You just gave him another one.
the way that they are blitzing, it's uncharacteristic of what Raheem Morris would typically like to do, but this is the blend of Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbrich now partnered together. And I love it because they blitz creatively and with different timings depending on the angle that you're pass rushing from. So the outside guys and the inside guys, obviously they have their rush plan. But then when they're sending the extra players for extra pressure, they're doing it in a way that's cutting off almost where you're looking at the court as the quarterback. You're looking at what lanes you can then come to find. And the blitz comes and fills that lane just fast enough to make the quarterback hesitate. He was kind of scrambling around in this sort of cloudy, looking for his rush lanes situation, didn't trust what he was seeing downfield to throw the ball, couldn't really cut and run the way that he wants to because of the way that they were pressuring him. It was so creative. It was like geometric art, you guys. I loved it.
Can you do that every week? They've been doing it week after week this year.
Here's why they can do that, and it's hopefully this becomes a story because one, Caden Ellis, the inside linebacker, is the most underrated player in the NFL. I've said this for 2 years. But they've taken Divine Diablo, who was with the
Cool
Raiders,
last
right?
name, by the way.
A former safety type player who can run. And Raheem told me this in training camp. You're going to see some things out of this kid you haven't seen from him. So you've got a guy who can run, and that goes to Jordan's point. When you're blitzing a certain way, and you've got two linebackers who can go. We saw this with Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner with the Niners. They can clean up any stuff up front. But the thing is, the guys up front have been so gap disciplined. You saw that when Josh Allen was like, okay, where can I go? Nowhere. But they've got two linebackers who can clean it up. AJ Terrell at the corner is playing his tail off.
Yeah, he is.
Got two great safeties. You got the rookie Xavier Watts and Jesse Bates. So defensively, they're sound on all three levels, and they're cranking it up. Ulbricht, was with Raheem when they were there, and before when Dan Quinn was coaching, they usually kind of wait. Now we're going to come after you. Now they're like, nope, we're coming after you from the gate. So I love the way that they're playing. This game's going to be interesting, but with Mac Jones, who's gutting through that knee and that oblique, you could see it show up some in that game against the Bucs. If he's stationary like he is, it's going to be tough. It is going to be really tough because those linebackers can match up with Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield as well.
And a lot goes on Kendrick Bourne's shoulders, which is nothing new to Kendrick Bourne after getting there. He's at 142 yards. It could say like exactly 142.
Fantasy pickup of the year.
Go ahead. A great pickup by the 49ers because there was some negotiation that was going on before Kendrick Bourne actually got signed. And
Price went up.
Yeah. Yesterday's price evolved. And so now where the Bills were in a situation where, especially in the second half, they couldn't shake free of the Falcons secondary. Like, better hope that there's a Kittle availability in this game, because if those pressures were getting, that was the highest blitz rate that Josh Allen has seen in almost 4 years. Like, you got to go back to 2021 for a blitz rate like that against Josh Allen, where teams kind of felt unsafe to come after him to that extent. But the Falcons were able to clean
out of the gate.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't hesitate
the entire game.
Yeah.
And so if like seeing Mac Jones like adjust the knee brace and like hobble up and get up slowly for the past few weeks, like I don't know, maybe they both have to play in this game.
And on the other side, I think this is so cool and unfortunate because I really would have loved to see Fred Warner, and not even just Mike Penix, but Fred Warner and Bijan Robinson chess match as well, because Bijan Robinson and the pistol, we talked about this on NFL Daily with him last week, friend of the program, like how he's setting up his own runs. They're giving him the autonomy directionally as a quarterback would have to set up different layers of the defense if that quarterback was setting up his runs. And instead, Bijan is able to kind of help do that, especially aligned if they're going to run outside in the pistol, which has its detractors, but I am a big fan of. And it's cool because I would have loved to see Fred Warner negotiate that and counter that and that battle. And this is a young 49ers defense that I think has played really, really admirably, especially undermanned and sort of rebuilding as it is. And Robert Saleh has really coached this group up. And by the way, the Venn diagram of coaching staffs here.
Connect.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, Raheem Morris, Kyle Shanahan, a bunch of assistants.
Jack Robinson.
Kyle and Raheem are best friends.
And so it's so interesting for all those reasons. And I can't help but think and wish that of any player I wish could see go against the way that Atlanta is playing schematically right now, it is Fred Warner.
Yeah, the 49ers superpower used to be incredible game planning plus super duper stars. Like, we are more talented than you, and like physicality. Without Bosa, without Warner. Purdy hasn't been healthy. Not that he's at that level. Trent Williams is not quite where Trent Williams used to be. Like they just don't feel like that super team. Whereas Atlanta, sure, it's like greater than the sum of their parts on defense. But on offense, you have two capital D dudes in Bijan Robinson and Drake London.
It's
And they're just more talented, I think, than the 49ers. All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to go to the NFC East, which is all jumbled up. And everyone's looking at the Eagles thinking maybe we can win the division this year. Back on NFL Daily. Washington and Dallas coming off disappointing losses each, but there's good injury news on the horizon. CeeDee Lamb practicing on Wednesday, and Kevontae Turpin. Like, maybe we're getting CeeDee Lamb back for this game.
It may be. The Cowboys have needed all the offensive help they could get, considering the way things have gone for the defense. Both of these teams were on win streaks, but now it's the Commanders who are favored by 2.5 points at the Dallas Cowboys. 54.5 is the over-under. It is Fox 1, Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi there for the call. As Steve, do we finally get an opportunity for Dallas to show its defensive strength against a division opponent?
No.
Oh.
No, that's no. I mean, their defense is not good. Jaden's going to be upset by the way that game ended. Bill Krosky-Merritt's going to be upset by the fact that he gave it up in the first half. The offensive line's going to have to play a little bit better in the run game. I just think this is one. Terry McLaurin is supposed to be back practicing this week. Washington's just going to go off. That was one of those you could tell by Dan Campbell's body language after the game that he was sick. I mean, the missed tackle. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dan Quinn. Sorry about that. The body language that he had about
two goatee guys. It's fine.
Yeah, the missed tackle at the end on DeAndre Swift. Like, I think Washington's going to come out and play one of its best games of the season. I think Jaden's going to come out and play well. That 54.5 line is not even high enough. There's going to be some points scored in this game. I think Washington's going to put a whole lot of them up there.
Everyone plays their best against this Dallas defense. And you look at like the approach that the Bears took, which I thought was really good. I know it wasn't perfect against Washington, but when teams have slowed down Cliff Kingsbury's Commanders, it's been a lot of just, we're going to have more numbers than you in the running game, and we're going to make you try to win one-on-one matchups, which works better when Terry McLaurin is out of the lineup, and now he will be back in. But they ultimately got totally stonewalled by what going into the game was maybe the worst run defense in the league, the Bears. And I thought it was a good game plan. It's like, oh, you know who else, could run that game plan? Like the former Cowboys coordinator, Dan Quinn. Problem is no longer there. And who is the most inflexible defensive coordinator in the league? It's Matt Eberflus. I can't imagine
him. Flus is not loose.
And those guys, Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs, they would be up for it. But I just kind of can't see the Cowboys having that sort of approach in this game.
But I think with both offenses, we're going to see a lot of points on both sides. And I agree 100% with what you guys are saying about the Commanders. I think that this is an all-out, you try to score 6 or 7 on every single drive, right? And I think that it's possible against what this Cowboys defense is doing. I also think, though, that this Commanders defense looks old to me. I mean, they look slower, and we were worried about this last year, and they play really hard. Nobody's questioning that, and they are really smart players. And Frankie Louvu is flying around, looks back to his old self. Teams were kind of putting a lot on him in terms of how they were countering him earlier in the season. He's flying around, but they're creaky to me in different ways too. And I think that if you're getting the guys back on this Cowboys offense that does have something, no, they could not run the ball this last game, but overall, throughout the season, they've run the ball extremely well. Schematically, they've looked great up front. Javonte Williams has looked explosive. I think that is an anomaly last week versus the norm that we've seen. And if you're getting these guys back with Dak playing the way that he is, and unfortunately, I do believe this is another possibly wasted Dak game, like most of these losses have been. But him and Schottenheimer and Javonte and this offensive line, who also got guys back and are getting back into a rhythm, there's just something there. I just like it. I don't like their defense at all, but I just like what the Cowboys have cooking on offense, and I think they trade blows back and forth all day.
Yeah, even the passing game, despite the fact that the run game went into the singularity that is the Panthers defense in Charlotte for some reason that we won't be able to explain.
An event.
And never understand. But the pass game still looked good. And to imagine Dak having the full complement, where it's not Ryan Flanoy on the field, instead it's now CeeDee Lamb.
Hey, Ryan Flanoy had a big game.
He did. He had a great game. But they've all been able to be successful. But when George Pickens is the number one threat and still having the performances that he's had, it shows that all the potential, which is kind of wasted by this inflexible, as Greg says, defense, which does have some flexibility because Kyrie Elam is not playing almost at all anymore. It was to the start of the season, where it's like that trade didn't necessarily yield the results that the Cowboys would have liked to had. But for week in and week out to be the same exact situation we expect to be in the game, the Cowboys are going to be in this game. They're going to score a lot of points to try to eke it out at the win and be right every single week. Like someone's got to eventually give here.
It's such a big game. I do like thinking about these in the context of the season. It's why that Cowboys loss to the Panthers, I think, really hurt. Like their schedule is difficult. But if you want mess,
I like mess.
Always.
Just imagine, the Cowboys do get this win. They get back to like 3-3-1. You got the Giants and the Eagles playing twice in 3 weeks. If the Giants could ever like sweep that matchup, that game next week is gonna be big. And even though I've kind of liked what I've seen overall out of the Commanders this year, like if they found a way to stub their toe this week, I don't think they will. But if they did and they're at 3-4, it's just like shake it all up. This thing is gross, and it's the NFC East of like 4 or 5 years ago.
No, that would be great. And look, I just think, especially knowing the coaching staff in Washington, like they're sick. The missed tackles, poor run angles on defense. Offensively they were fine. They said that the giveaways. Like I just think this is going to be a much better week, but you don't know what you're going to get out of this. They're one of these teams right now. We're like, what are they? Because
the two quarterbacks, you kind of know what you're getting every week from these two teams, and that's about it.
Yeah, I would say that. And then Jaden, still he's coming back, getting healthy, and he's a little spotty from time to time. But they get Terry McLaurin back, that changes that offense.
And I think as much as they love to be at home, to not be in the elements after the weather caused a lot of those issues.
Slippery.
It's going to be a nice, comfortable 72 degrees inside of AT&T Stadium with the 0% chance.
Look out for the sun.
Of rain.
Well, there's that.
The Green Bay Packers are going on the road. They are 6.5-point favorites at the Arizona Cardinals. The over-under is 44.5. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Jen Hale on the call. We saw a moral victory from the Arizona Cardinals in a Jacoby Brissett game where the Colts like oddly fell apart in warmups and they had to make some adjustments. How do you see this one going, Jourdan?
I would argue that this is not really a road game for Green Bay, considering how many Packers fans and Wisconsinites do reside in the state of Arizona overall and how deep they will travel for this game and fill up the stands there at State Farm Stadium, I suspect. I still think the Packers have it. They've got all the pieces. Jordan Love's playing great. The offense is starting to come together. The run defense is the best in the league right now in terms of yards per game. And Micah Parsons is still on the team, lest we forgot. I would just really like for not only this Packers team as a whole, but also like some of their fans to just like loosen up a little, to lighten up. We had people, guys, in our show mentions mad that we were having fun with an icing the kicker moment. Like, lighten up, guys. Like, loosen up.
I was unaware of this.
I didn't know.
The expectations, like enjoy something. The expectations on this team are so high. And I say this carries right even through to the team itself that plays still, to me, a little tight sometimes and a little in its own head sometimes.
Like their head coach.
And that's including the play caller, which I was about to say. And I feel like I just want this team looser. I just want to see them cut it loose and play loose and schematically sound and fundamentally sound, obviously. But I can tell the second they made that move, and a great move, and one that is going to take them to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, and one that makes them instant Super Bowl contenders. In trading for Micah Parsons, you also saw them get tight. You also saw them clench up a little bit because this is a team that knows it's got what it takes to go the whole way. So just enjoy it. Have some fun. Loosen up. Be free.
Play like a complete game. I think that's what would do it. They just are always frustrated, and they're there's always something about the game that they're a little
Enjoy something.
annoyed about.
Enjoy
like
all
they
4
haven't
quarters.
been a totally complete team. I would expect I would definitely take the Cardinals plus 6.5 here because the Cardinals are the example of the middle of the NFL. They are the most average team in the NFL, even with their back. 2-4 is not indicative. Like they actually have a plus scoring differential this year because the 4 games they've lost have been by a combined 9 points. But the 2 games they won were also 1-score games. Like everything is a last-minute field goal or a last-second throw for Jacoby Brissett. And I think they're a tough enough defense to give Jordan Love in this offense problem, which hasn't been able to put together like a totally complete game.
And Arizona just doesn't know how to win. I mean, that's the main thing. That's why they're losing these close games. It's a little mistake here or there. They just don't know how to close it out. But in terms of Green Bay, I mean, defensively, they should be, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, whether it's Kyler, they should be able to handle this offense. This is one where I really want to see their defense kind of choke a team out.
Yeah.
Like, we're that good. They don't have the weapons. Marvin Harrison's still in concussion protocol, I believe. Like, let's go there, choke them out, not expect their offense to do something and beat a team that doesn't know how to win a close game.
Marvin Jr. was limited.
He was limited
as of Wednesday.
Okay,
as was Kyler
Step in
Murray.
the protocol.
And so there's if Jordan or anybody else is looking for a loose Packers moment, Josh Jacobs was mic'd up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Much like the Leonard Fournette mic'd up of a few years ago, he was laughing every time he was tackled.
I love it.
So there's a light, fluffy Packers moment where
just enjoy the ride, guys. This is gonna be fun for Packers fans. Just enjoy it.
And a lot of them are. Plenty of them are.
I know. It's just fun. They just expectations.
How about the Cardinals fans?
Expectations will crush a team.
I'm more worried about the Cardinals fans who did have high expectations this year, and this is their last game before their bye. It just feels like a big moment for them. If they go into that bye 2-5, it's the lowest moment of the Jonathan Gannon era. And I give them a chance. There are some things to like. Part of it was because Jacoby Brissett played, so that's tricky. I assume Kyler Murray will be starting if healthy. He's limited, as you mentioned. Then again, they have the bye week, so reading between the lines, to me, it sounded like they weren't counting on Kyler Murray earlier in the week, but maybe he's making good progress. Like with Jacoby Brissett, you saw the play action rate went way up. He was not kind of the dink and dunk Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, he was letting it go.
They had more chunk plays in that game than almost the entire season combined, and they actually had their offensive line that they intended to have going into 2024 before a number of injuries struck to different players, and that's been the case somewhat this year, and Will Hernandez is coming back from an injury. They actually had it all together for the first time since before last season, and they played pretty well against the Colts. So, I'm not counting this Cardinals team out in this week or long term.
Oh.
Why not? I think they're right in the middle. They're right in the middle of the NFL.
Congratulations to the Arizona Cardinals in 2025.
We're all looking at Greg like, okay.
You are the middle.
Preach that sermon, my brother.
I actually look at Steve every time Greg makes a point because Steve is within reach of the swinging mitts here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen...
You can take a shot at some point.
See Steve.
Greg's wingspan. In that
shockingly large wingspan.
Yeah, in that great shirt. By the way.
Eagles green.
Let's go.
Hey, a reminder, the Houston Texans exist. Coming off of the bye, they went into Baltimore, got healthy on offense, and now they get to be a part of the Monday night doubleheader, the later start at the Seattle Seahawks, who are a 3-point favorite. Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky, Katie George, Peter Schrager on the call as we get a chance to see if that offensive revolution, Greg, was just the Baltimore Ravens or if the Texans are back.
This will be a very tough game to figure that out because they could put up 16 points as long as it wasn't complete disaster class. That might be a good performance against this Seattle team. We'll see if Devin Witherspoon gets back on the field this week. I just think he's so important to what everything Mike McDonald wants to do, especially the combination of him and Julian Love, who have been out. But I like that you frame it in the not just the Ravens, game. I like that coming off a bye. I think coaches and staffs tell us a lot about themselves. So what have they worked on during this bye? What are they going to look like, especially in terms of being able to pick up pass rushers? Because that's what they've really struggled with up front, and Seattle makes that as hard as any team in the league to do.
Yeah, this is, yes, because you could see like small incremental improvements, and yes, some of it was the opponent. I definitely allow that, and a lack of a pass rush in Baltimore. But you could see slight starts of incremental adjustments and improvements. Getting Woody Marks in there a little bit more helped them out. The offensive line in general settling down a little bit. They're young in some places and need to obviously continue to build positive blocks and steps forward. So the bye week, is huge. This is a nightmare opponent defensively to go against.
Nightmare opponent.
But it's a nightmare opponent for both teams because Seattle is the most explosive offense in the NFL right now. Love that for them. They are so fun to watch. But they're going to go against a brick wall in that Houston Texans defense, not just their secondary, but also Seattle has to improve their run game for as great as much as we love the blueprint of it and as much as we love watching this offense overall. This is not going to be an easy defense to go against. To get to fixing certain things that need to be fixed.
No, I mean, you look at Houston's front seven, one of the most talented front sevens in the NFL. I mean, from the linebackers, you got O'Toole, you got some of the guys, Azeez Al-Shaair, and then, of course, the bookend pass rushers coming for Sam Darnold. But again, I think the timing offense, the way Seattle's running its offense right now, you can still move the ball up and down the field on Houston. It's going to be whether they can get into the end zone. I think that's the issue. But the way Darnold is playing right now, I'm all on the Sam D club.
He's number one in EPA per play composite ranking, Steve. We're geeking him out over them every week.
We got him on the island.
I
mean, he's there, quite an island, like right now. We got to get CJ back. This is not gonna be a game though that will probably support his candidacy.
I don't know, man. CJ seems to be. I mean, I know it was the Ravens and the Titans the last two games, but CJ seems to be like, okay, now I feel a little more comfortable behind this offensive line. So I don't think he's scared. Right, he's going into this game ready to deal a little bit. So I think this is going to be a tight game. It's just tough because it's in Seattle.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, because these Seahawks are road warriors. They go up, they give all kinds of problems. Folks in Duval were on cloud nine after that win against the Chiefs, but here comes JSN streaking down the field for 61. But the Jags, there's a reason that they're shipping corners out and trying to make changes in the secondary. That the Texans, I think, talent-wise, are uniquely positioned to be a problem for Seattle's offense to an extent that maybe they hadn't seen yet.
And they should be a problem for everyone's offense, like the physicality that they have. Although I was thinking about like bigger picture that this season, I always think this, it just is a reminder, it's really tough to build around defense. The Texans defense is great, but ultimately they've given up a couple drives in key moments this season where even though the offense has struggled, they could easily be 4-1 this year if the defense made a couple. I think about the Vikings, really built around their defense, and it's tough for their defense to carry them week after week. I think about the Broncos, who you think of as one of the best defenses. Those last two aren't even in the top 10 in DVOA right now because when you go up against an offense, and I would include the Seahawks in one of these, at least their passing games, that's truly efficient. It's just nothing is set up for you to dominate in this league. So you better have like a respectable, the better offense, or your team is kind of DOA.
Yeah, if your defense is on the field,
right,
over and over and over, eventually the team's going to hit you on a 10-play drive, an 11-play drive, and wear your butt down, and then that's that. The offense has got to be able to put points up on the board. That's why, again, I think Houston, I don't know.
I love this
watching
game.
them. I love this game. Just watch.
This is my favorite game of the week.
You already gave you one. One. So.
I just think
it's Monday Night Football. It's late.
Oh, that's true.
Everyone.
Oh my God, everyone gets it. Yes.
We'll be there.
Why can't the Seahawks run the ball consistently, though? Like, at what point is that like an issue?
Yeah, last week was concerning.
That's the thing that's wild to me because the scheme is there, and they brought some dudes in, and they've got the two-back system, and you would think all of the pieces on paper, everything, even on scheme-wise on the field when you're watching the tape, you're like, I could see why that would work, and yet, But here's the thing: 2 weeks ago, Mike McDonald was mad as heck at his pass rush or lack thereof, spoke about it at length in the media that week. This week, obviously not thrilled with the run game, speaking about it at length in the media this week. This is the focus this week. He is never hiding what his team is focusing on week over week over week. And you have to run the ball, or at least try, because if you try to get the ball to these big tight ends that they're having success with, you got these badass linebackers for Houston that are making that more of a challenge. And if you're trying to be explosive on the perimeter, or even getting some of those gimme pickup yards and conversions or yak plays that Cooper Kupp kind of came alive with last week as well, you're going to have a hard time against the secondary. Everything is going to be difficult. You have to run the ball better.
And that's where you want to win against Houston, too, because their tackles, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, have played great, especially protecting Sam Bradford. But if you're going to pick a weakness, it probably has been their interior, even drafting Gray Zabel in terms of
Sam Darnold.
What?
Sam Bradford made his way in.
I was like,
It's a long show.
Sam Bradford and Sam
we've
Darnold.
been sitting here for hours.
To me, I always used to mix up, and now Darnold is just taking it to another level. That the 2000 and what year was it? 11
Greg's
rookie of
still
the
in
year,
that San
Sam
Diego
Bradford.
parking lot, you know?
Yeah.
Ow!
Smelling the scents.
But whether in the run game or the pass game, because I think back, because one of those late defensive collapses by the Texans, Greg, was the performance by Baker and the Bucs offense, which was really just Bucky Irving as well as Rashad White making guys miss on that final drive. So perhaps Zach Charbonnet as well as Kenneth Walker will need to make some plays in this one. To our final game we go.
That's a great game.
You change the locations, and this would be the ultimate revenge game,
Orleans.
but it is not.
Ooh.
It is the New Orleans Saints at the Chicago Bears, who are favored by 5.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston, and Allison Williams will be there, Steve, as we get the Dennis Allen opportunity against his old team.
Dennis is going to be
who's
like,
more motivated in this one?
No, Dennis is going to be like, dudes, we're punching it out. We're going to get 5 takeaways.
Chewing gum
We're gonna get all
furiously
these-
on the sideline.
Look, but with the Bears defense, though, I mean, it's funny watching them against Washington, which is a better team, but they make some freaking plays, man. I mean, this pick right here that we're seeing on video, that was a spectacular play. The way that they showed some of the athleticism and speed and tenacity, I like the way they played. Now they're vulnerable at times, but Sweat coming in on the rush, I just think DA is gonna be like no mercy. But again, their defense has been gashed a bit of time, but not by Spencer Rattler. Who hasn't been bad, by the way.
No, he's been pretty good.
He's been good, and he was there with DA, like a lot of this team. I mean, there's revenge games all over the place. Chris Olave was essentially sold out by DA when he basically chose Derek Carr over Chris Olave in kind of a public
That worked out.
situation. Alvin Kamara and DA definitely were not eye to eye, and there was a report actually that Alvin Kamara indicated to the Saints he does not want to be traded because they basically, I think, are putting up a for sale sign on a lot of their players. I think Chris Olave might be one of them. But Kamara indicated reportedly to them that he wants to stay. That would not be the case, I think, if DA was the coach there. Well, how about this part of the revenge game? Revenge might be the wrong word, but once upon a time, Spencer Rattler was, the number one high school recruit or whatever in the country.
Yeah.
And he was displaced by Caleb Williams. And now people are doing redrafts. Our friend Steven Ruiz at the ringer of the 2024 draft. And this was a bold take. First, he had Drake May as the number 1 overall pick. That's not as bold. You can make the argument for that.
Flip that in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
number 1. Most
interesting.
Only thing that
Ahead of Jaden. He had Caleb
Little
going
flush
third.
appears in his cheek.
He had Spencer Rattler going 10th overall to the Minnesota Vikings.
Man,
now
that
in
was
this
sick.
redraft, because that's the level that Rattler's playing at.
I like that match too. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he is kind of playing like a
Steven, I like the team match. Let me say that.
right. He's kind of playing like less maybe like a top 10 overall pick, but more of like the guy after the top 3 quarterbacks. Like who's played better this year, Bo Nix or Spencer Rattler? It's Spencer Rattler
for sure. Yeah, it's a good story. I mean, because he's the guy that all summer everyone's like, when is it no longer going to be his job?
Right. Shuck.
Some Saints fans are calling for Shuck, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, why? I
don't get it.
I don't understand because it seems like Kellen Moore starting to figure out a little bit more of how he wants to utilize Spencer Rattler in this offense. They've used motion on 70% of their plays. And they gain the 9th fewest yards in the entire league when they don't use motion. So yeah, maybe that 70% should go up.
Kellen Moore got out of Philly where they apparently hate motion.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm free, let me go.
This is it.
Run him around
Nothing but
everywhere.
motion.
Yeah.
Rashid, Chris, get in motion. And Olave has the 4th highest target rate among receivers this year. So Rattler's loading up Chris Olave.
Not working though.
Well,
He's having his worst
No, I
season.
mean it's not the roster needs so much help. They need to develop as a coaching staff. The defense needs help. They're going to start replacing some of these older players with these younger players who are coming up to see what they've got. It is interesting though. I want to point this out on the other side. Something important that I think we saw from Chicago earlier in this last game. Calm, situational awareness. Yes, they were playing for the field goal, for the 1-point win. Don't necessarily love that. But hey, you take them where you can get them. And I like the end of game management between Ben Johnson and specifically Caleb Williams, how he's calming everyone down in the huddle. He's reminding everybody, what their assignments are. Should this happen? Should that happen? You can hear some of it on the mic'd up. It just, we are not that far removed from a Chicago team in tight late game scenarios that require some situational finesse by both the coach and the quarterback of which way are they going to lose this week?
Right.
Right. And I see so much positive progress made out of this Bears team. They maneuvered around their offensive line. The guards are playing good. Jonah Jackson looked awesome for the first time in really a while. He's had some struggles in his career. They switched around. They got a guy back on the right side. They switched around the left side. Like it's starting to come together for Chicago.
It's starting to come together, and we sat here. It's going to take some time, but we know how incredibly talented Caleb Williams is, and so you're starting to see that come around. Clearly, the connection with Roma Dunze is there. Right, he's getting some stuff going with Loveland. That's here and there. But if Swift continues to play, if he stays on the field and continues to play the way they played, Chicago's is interesting. I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line because what they did to Washington late, okay, when they were able to hit the edges over and over. Like you heard me talk about how Dan Quinn's going to be just furious about seeing that. But the play by the tackles and the pulling linemen to hook the defenders and the spring Swift like that, they keep doing that. You keep opening the offense, you can go here, then you can work it inside. Then you got a quarterback who can get it downfield. They could be very dangerous.
I mean, on the edge, how about a little shout out to the Canadian Eagle, Theo Benedict?
Yeah.
Going to UBC in Canada, a little Canadian representation.
There you go.
They choose him as the left tackle coming out of the bye. And I was talking about that with the Texans. Like, show us your work coming out of the bye. The Bears on both sides of the ball, suddenly their run defense was tough and looked better, and they're healthier. Their linebackers are healthier.
Right.
Kyler Gordon is in there. That is part of it. And then on the offensive side, they suddenly ran the ball, and I'm rooting for the Saints in this game. I want to pick them in this game, but I just feel like the biggest mismatch is Ben Johnson versus Brandon Staley in this defense. And I thought it last week too with McDaniels, and he had him cooking, especially in that early script where he just kind of knew what the Saints defense was going to do, and they took advantage.
But real quick, I mean, this brings up a point, and I think we need to look all around what teams are mature enough to handle this, right?
Sure.
Can Atlanta, which came out of the bye like gangbusters, can they handle not going to San Francisco? Right? Can the Bears, coming off a nice Monday night win, go down to New Orleans? Are they mature enough to handle it? This is where we're going to get some tells about some teams.
Greg, you mentioned big mismatches. We got to find one because we need to survive. As a family, we again are undefeated, and I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos at home against Jackson Dart.
No, don't like that at all. I feel like the Giants are
he wants to
risky.
pick the Patriots.
No, don't want that either on the road. Our method has been to just take the team playing the Bengals.
We don't have the Bengals.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday night football game, but we're taping this on Wednesday. There's no rule saying that we can't.
Have you
do
seen
that.
the last 2 Thursday night football games, Greg?
They have been crazy, but that does not impact me.
Can't you see how much Patrick cares about this?
We could do the
Because we're
Chiefs.
doing it together.
We have yet to choose the Chiefs this season. And
Oh,
we could
come
just,
on.
We could just
I
survive
want to do that.
way. Or we could stay consistent and go believe in the Aaron Rodgers Steelers. That's a little tricky too.
Are you leaning
Steve,
any
Steve, this
particular
is your
direction,
first
Steve?
show that you've sat in for both. I mean, it was a big get. AFC, NFC. I give you the tie-breaking honors here.
The tie-breaking honors?
Even though I didn't get to submit one.
Yeah.
The tie-break.
I thought you wanted. You didn't like the Chiefs. I thought you liked the Broncos.
No, I want Patriots, picking the Patriots
Oh,
over
I
Tampa.
hate that.
That's what I was going to go as well. Like New England.
Oh, no.
No,
Not allowing that.
If you're taking it seriously, Greg, as
I
we
am.
were accused of not,
I am. I think they could lose that game. Absolutely.
Nope.
He's mad.
I don't think he's serious.
I am serious.
I don't think you take this game seriously enough. I'm kind of disappointed.
I am taking it so serious.
Okay.
A road team, fired coach, and a team getting a lot of love with the number there. But
A
I think
revenge game
you
by a
dig
previously
beneath the
fired
surface,
head
and they're
coach?
like 20th overall in DVOA, and you're telling me that's a better pick than the Chiefs at home against the Raiders?
Yeah, I want to feel something.
Okay. All right.
Don't do it, man.
No. All right. I'm
Don't
with Greg.
do it.
I'm with Greg.
Oh,
But if-
my God.
But if we lose this,
Okay.
that is 100% on Gregg Rosenthal.
I take that responsibility.
See, he doesn't
like all
care about this.
responsibilities.
He doesn't care about this.
Everyone has been showing up to the players-only meetings that are not required.
On time.
And they're on time. Weiss is there early.
Yeah.
He's taking notes. The leadership here is great. Thursday Night Football. It'll be Nick Shook and I. That's the next show in your feed. We will see you then.